Morning, everyone. We have made it. It's election day. I hope you've all gotten to the polls, cast your vote. Um, if there's any discrepancies, I'd love to hear about them because it's been pretty much a nightmare with this election. I've kind of not covered this election on purpose. There's so much coverage of it and so much fear mongering and, predictions and, trying to scare the daylights out of everybody, which I honestly think this is probably one of the more important elections in our lifetime. I've said this since the last one. To be quite honest, I'm actually surprised the election has even taken place. And I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I'm actually kind of in shock that we've made it this far. I think we've just begun to see maybe the chaos, maybe not. But if you've watched pretty much any podcast, any news organization, they're basically telling you. But there are some things that have been a little bit concerning over the last couple weeks. And I'm always skeptical of those in charge. Anyway, even irregardless of party, but I have to wonder what they know and what they think is coming or what they're planning on doing that's going to cause chaos. They've been fortifying the White House, all these different things, the vice president's residence, all that kind of stuff. So what is really going to happen? What are they planning? And the question, or the answer to that question is we really have no idea. But if you have been watching, you'll probably notice that there's been a lot of chicanery with this election. That's a nice word to use, without using any cuss words. But, this whole process has been polluted and destroyed since COVID. And even before that, it's been manipulated. We've really seen it now since in the last couple of years. The election process in America has been completely destroyed. I know recently California made it basically illegal to even ask for an ID at the polls, which is pretty concerning. Kind of tells you everything what they're planning on doing, and the fact that nobody is screaming about this isn't a partisan issue. I'm tired of hearing Democrat, Republican. We need to start being Americans. We need to start questioning these things. Why are they doing this? And I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on. Stop marching lockstep with these people. It's coming from both sides. You can't trust it. Now, a lot of this election stuff is definitely coming from the left side of the aisle. It's been for a while. I've noticed this trend for a while. And I know there's going to be people on here it's both sides. I get it. I get it. The problem I have with those on the right is they're not speaking up about this. And they're not screaming at the top of their lungs for election integrity. They're doing it to an extent. There's a few out there. But we as Americans need to do this. We need to keep our people accountable. And the voting process is the one last real freedom that we have that's different from many parts of the country, or the other parts of the world, I'm sorry. We still have that. We've done this, it's been intact. And I think what concerns me the most, and the things that I've noticed this over the last several years, but when I was young, it was paper ballots. And we usually knew by midnight who the winner of the election was. Now, it's taken weeks to certify them, and now everything is most of it's computerized. There's no reason for all this. There's just none, other than manipulation and fraud. And I think that's a lot of this why these laws were even put into place, to make it easier to manipulate the elections. As scary as it is, it's the truth. And something I've said this forever, and like I said, I've tried to stay not. I don't want to get too left and right on here, but there's something I've always noticed, that it always seems that the come from behind election wins always seem to favor the Democrats. It always seems like when they find a box of ballots when the elections are close, and you can say whatever you want, but it's just something that I've noticed, and it's a little disturbing. But the problem with it is, what is being done about it from the other side? Nothing. There's no real. So it makes me wonder: are they all in collusion? Which I believe they probably are to some degree. But what does it hold for us down the road? Are we going down this slippery slope where our votes really don't count anymore, and they really don't matter, which after talking to a lot of people, and even myself to some degree, I think we may already be there. But I still think it's important that you get out there and cast your vote. If you don't complain about things. At least if you go and you put it in. Now, granted, if you're continually voting for bad policy and then you complain about the policy, well, then there's something not quite right with you. But that's a story for another video. But I do want to say, I mean, this is a preparedness channel, so you should be already getting prepared for these situations. Like if there's going to be, especially if you live in cities in probably more of the blue cities. I hate to say that, but that let's face it, that's when there's violence and there's chaos, that's typically where it's coming from, because nothing's done about it. But you should already be prepared for some of this. If you live more in a rural area, you may be a little insulated from it, maybe not. We've seen things over time, but it typically does happen in the cities. But if you're right on the outskirts, I mean, you should be prepared already. You should have safety measures in place for your house. You should have some extra food and water on hand, but you should already have that. And if you're watching this channel, that's what we kind of talk about. Maybe not so much lately, but you obviously have an interest in being prepared, so you should have those few things. So if you don't have it, get out today. Now, do I think we're going to have complete chaos in the streets today? Probably not. I think they're going to drag this out. I think they're going to, count those ballots that they found in the locker room at the preschool, and it's or the trunk of the car of the librarian at the high school, or they're going to find a bag of ballots hidden behind a tree, and somewhere. And it's the typical nonsense that we see every election. But if you don't have those things, maybe you go out today and grab a couple extra things again and just be ready, because if you do live near the cities, if there's some chaos in the streets, I mean, it may be a little bit harder to get the stuff you need. Like I said, I would hope that by now you would have a little bit on hand. If you're watching anything with preparedness channels, you should know that you probably should have more than a day or so of supplies in your house. So I would encourage you to get out today and do that. Get out and vote. Get out and grab a few things. Maybe top off your car. Probably not a bad idea. Like I said, I always, when these things happen, we don't know what's going to happen, and that's, I guess, the unknown is really what we need to prepare for as far as what's coming down the road. And depending on who wins this election, it could be chaos. Maybe not everywhere. Probably you're going to see that a lot more in the major cities. Maybe some of the smaller mid-sized towns, whatever. But you just got to be prepared. Have your head on a swivel the next couple of days. If you can, if you see things happening in your local towns, if you see chaos, steer clear of that. And being prepared allows you to steer clear of that, because if you don't need to go to the grocery store because they're rioting in front of the grocery store, then you don't have to worry about that. So, get ahead of the game. This is what we talk about. I always say it. You kind of prepare for the unknown. It's not, and I don't think it's paranoia. I think it's just being, you can have a snowstorm and you're ready. So some of that base preparedness goes across the board for a lot of different scenarios. But in this case, we really don't know what's gonna happen. So just be ready for it. Have those basic things. If you're out and about and you hear that there's things going on, you might want to steer clear of areas. But definitely get out and vote today if you haven't already. I know many of you probably already have. I know a lot of people that I know already have voted. That's a topic for another video also. I think we should all be voting on the same day. I think just like back in the day, they would ride on horseback, ride for trains for days just to be able to go vote. Now, we have to be convenienced about every single thing. Well, you know what? Sometimes freedom comes with a little bit of a price and sacrifice, and I think it's your civic duty to go out and vote. And I think, complaining because you had to wait in line a little bit, once every 4 years, especially in the presidential elections, is a small price to pay. So I will see you guys on the next one. Stay safe. Get prepared a little bit. Get out and vote, and we will see you on the next one. And hopefully by the next video, we're not in complete chaos, and we're not panicking about what to do next. So anyway, Take care, guys. God bless. If you like this video, please give me a like, and we'll see you next time.